Hey guys, and welcome back to an episode of Off the Shelf. I'm your host, HD, and this week, what we found off the shelf was...
Mr. Morrison, you've gone too far.
You're a poet, not a rock star.
What you gonna do for Act 3?
Hey, look out. Go on, kill me. Come on, give me some death.
Let's just say I was testing the bounds of reality.
The Doors, the movie, not the, it's based off the band, but you know what I mean. Released in 1991, it was directed and co-written by Oliver Stone, starring Val Kilmer, rest in peace, as Jim Morrison, Meg Ryan, and Kyle Machlachlan. But this movie is a biopic, a drama, a kind of, I don't know, honestly. The film was very interesting, right? I liked the movie, but I do feel like obviously there is a inherent inaccuracy, right? Being a Hollywood biopic about a celebrity, usually those films are not too accurate. But apparently this film got in a bit of hot water in regards to the original surviving band members of The Doors, and they were not a fan of the story. They were not a fan of the depiction of Jim Morrison. They were not fans of how the movie itself was made, which I think was understandable because, obviously, there's a lot of historical inaccuracies there. I think there's, literally, a whole list that you could go on and on about for, half an hour about how many things they got wrong about it. Which, obviously you could make the argument, it's a biopic. You don't need... It's not a documentary, right? Obviously you don't need... The film doesn't need to be completely 100% accurate. But I also feel like some of the things that they did in the movie, I feel like were definitely, kind of a little... kind of iffy, because there was also, this character... and I call her a character for a reason, because she is kind of this, witch... kind of reviewer lady who reviewed one of Jim Morrison's books, or poem books, and then they get into a kind of pseudo relationship, and then they have a falling out, and obviously, she, the character that she's named, the person that she's named after, Patricia, she is or was a real person. I'm not sure if she's still alive, but the director Oliver Stone himself even admitted that he used several other women, because Jim Morrison got with a lot of women in his day. He took a lot of stories from other women and kind of combined them into one character, and she was essentially a fictional character that he just named after a real person. So of course, when she watched the movie, she got upset because there were things she could obviously tell that she did and didn't do. So, obviously, that's pretty messed up. And even he admitted that if he had ever gotten the chance to make the movie again, he would have changed her name to a fictional name to, add her as a certain, not real person. But, with that being said, I'm not just going to list off all the inaccuracies and all the things they did wrong, because, again, I could be here all day. And two, I enjoyed the film, and I think I can look past that and enjoy it for what it is, and I think it was fun. Right? I really think the best part of this movie, I think the main highlight of this movie that a lot of people talk about, is Val Kilmer's just absolutely magnetic performance, right? He is just so electric, right? He is so just awe-inspiring, right? He is so good at playing this, wild, kind of, nutty, fucking crazy rock star, right? He is really good. His performance is really good. People say that this is Val Kilmer's magnum opus. People say it's his best role, and I mean, I doubt I'll be able to find one better, like, in his catalog, because it was just, there was something about him. Whenever he was on screen, you just couldn't take your eyes off of it. You know, he just had a way with the way he said his lines, the way he moved around. Like, even the Doors themselves, they even complimented, like, Val Kilmer's performance. Like, obviously they had problems with Oliver Stone's writing and the story, but they gave props to Val Kilmer. I feel like unanimously, even the people that didn't like the movie, they can even admit that Val Kilmer's performance was fucking killer, right? The film was absolutely fucking, I'd say without Val Kilmer, I don't think the film would have been nearly as good. Right, I think really he helped elevate the film to a level it may not have been at if it wasn't for him. Right, I mean, obviously he is the main character. He is Jim fucking Morrison, right? But I feel like an actor, that I feel like he just like kicked it into next gear, and he was just in next gear throughout the entire film. In addition, to all that, to his great performance, you know, to his incredible, I guess, just body language, to everything that he did in the film, he also was singing all the songs. In addition to that, he sang all the songs in the film, at least the ones that, like, he performed. Like, obviously, like, in the background, they played Doors songs, and they were just the actual Doors songs with actual Jim Morrison singing them. But whenever they were live performing, or whenever he was, like, in the studio singing, it was actually Val Kilmer. And apparently, Val Kilmer actually, to get into the role of Jim Morrison, I don't know how true this is, so maybe leave it down in the comments if I'm wrong, but I believe I read somewhere that Val Kilmer had actually spent a year as like, method actor, like, being, like, in the head space of Jim Morrison to get into the, like, role of Jim Morrison. And apparently he was so good at, like, staying in character that he had to go to therapy to get out of it. And that's kind of crazy, right? I mean, apparently even, I remember, again, tell me if I'm wrong, but I remember I heard the original surviving band members of The Doors, when they heard Val Kilmer singing, they thought it was Jim Morrison at first, right? He was that good at replicating Jim Morrison's singing. They thought it was, I mean, what more of a stamp of approval can you get than the original band members thinking you are the lead singer of their band? I mean, that's just fucking cool, right? That's just cool, right? And I don't know. I just think Val Kilmer, what else can I say? I think, honestly, you just need to watch the film and just see his absolutely magnetic performance, his awe-inspiring performance. I know there's a lot, I've ran out of buzzwords, okay? But his performance was great, and it's really unfortunate what happened to him. Obviously, we're making this video as a tribute to the late, great Val Kilmer. If you hadn't heard by now, he has unfortunately passed away. And what better way to tribute him than potentially watching his best ever performance, right? So, if you're a fan of Val Kilmer, go out and watch this film. If you have never seen this film, maybe you want to get into more Val Kilmer movies, this might be a good place to start. If it's his best performance, you might say, oh, maybe if it doesn't get better, then what's the point? I'm just saying, he's a good actor, okay? I don't know where I'm going with this. Whatever, he's a great actor, and we lost a good one, is basically what I'm saying. He was a great actor, and it's very unfortunate. But he had a good run, I'd like to say. I mean, he did... I mean, his acting-wise, like, the last few years of his life were like, kind of painful, and it's hard to read about. But, as I was saying, the film itself was good, and it was enjoyable, in my opinion. But again, there were a lot of, like, inaccuracies. But I liked the cinematography. I really liked how bombastic the film was. I really liked some of the, like, symbolic stuff. I really liked how there was, like, this like Native American riding a horse, like a pale horse throughout the whole film. You could see him in the background, and of course he was supposed to represent, like, death, and death was following Jim Morrison, like, all throughout the film, and even in the beginning of the movie, there's, like, this car crash, with these Native Americans, like, these Native American people have a car crash, and then death, like, the the death on the pale horse. He is there, there to claim some souls after a car crash. To take some souls. But, yeah, I like that bit. There's a lot of cool little details like that. Also, I just really think the cinematography itself, like, I think, honestly, a lot of biopics these days, to me at least, I feel like their, like, cinematography is kind of bland. Not to say that it's bad, right? I mean, it's competently made. I just feel like a lot of them these days are kind of whatever. There's not that much special about them. I think this film has a lot of cool camera shots, in this film. There's a fucking split diopter shot in this film, right? Which, not saying it's just incorporated with horror movies, but most movies that I see with a split diopter shot are just horror movies, so that's pretty cool that a fucking Doors biopic has a split diopter shot in it. But there's other cool shots, like in one of the concert scenes, there's like a scene where they actually got like thousands of people in this stadium, and they were like all instructed on what to do, but they also were all like given a bit of liberties to do what they wanted to do. It was actually really cool. But there's a scene where like he looks up and then like they all go silent, and then the lights turn out, and then like the Native American that had been like there's like, it wasn't the deaf guy, there was another guy, another Native American who had been following him throughout the movie, like in his visions, and he like goes on a dolly and he like floats away. And the director said it was like a representation of like the spirit of the Native American who died in the car crash at the beginning of the movie, like leaving him, because Jim Morrison, like, he had lost himself in that moment. But I remember one of the original band members says that, yeah, it was a cool part of the movie, but I feel like he had lost himself a long time before that. So, was he wrong? But yeah, with that being said, the film, I think, was very well put together, right? It was a very, like, well put together movie, and as overall, I think it's entertaining, right? I mean, obviously, if you're a big fan of The Doors and you know all these stories by heart, if you know who Jim Morrison, like, who he was, if you, like, actually know a lot about The Doors, you may not like this movie due to a lot of its inaccuracies. But if you can look past that, I do think the film itself is solid. Right, I do think it is solid on its own merits. I do think it is very enjoyable. And with that being said, I would recommend it. So, essentially, I would recommend the film. It is solid and it is enjoyable. And with that being said, I think I'll rate this film a 7 out of 10. And, yeah. Thank you guys for say. Thank you for some peace. So, guys, hope you liked this video. Share, friends, subscribe to the video. Comment below if you liked it. And I've been Time HD off to break on through to the other side. Not like Jim Morrison, though. So, I want to break on through, right? I want to go there. But not at 27. I don't want to be the 27 club, okay? It's not the cool kids club, trust me. Because, whatever, see you guys later. Take 3. Take 4. and then take 5. And I've been Time HD. And I've been Time HD off to break through to the other side. Did I do it wrong again? Fucker! What is the
break on through?
What is
the
the
other
on
side.
for?
I don't know. It's just the line.
Or whatever.